Hi, I'm Nikki.
And I'm Megan.
Welcome to the Grimdark Diaries.
We're your geek gal pals obsessed with true crime and all things dark and disturbing.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another spooky season episode. We announced all the details of our live show, and they posted the schedule and everything for HowlCon. And so Megan and I can see people that click attending on it to go to it. And it's only been up for, 2 days?
Yeah. Yeah, it's been about 2 days.
2 days, and there's already 46 lovely people attending. So that is very exciting. Thank you to all of you who are coming.
And that's just the people who signed up for it. So I'm really excited to see how many people are going to be in the room.
Yeah, because it's supposed to, I think there'll be a couple thousand people at the convention.
Wow. It's quite a big convention. And this is their first year doing like the full convention, like without any restrictions or lockdowns, or not lockdowns, but limited capacity or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So full
on. Balls to the walls in Nova Scotia.
Yeah. Really
no restrictions. I don't love that.
No, me either. Yeah. You can test positive and still go out in the public if you want to here, which is no bueno for me.
No, I'm going to be wearing a mask the whole weekend.
Same.
Except when we're on stage. Better be air conditioned in there.
Yeah. It's probably recycled air, so we'll just be like breathing in the air that everybody else is breathing all week.
I don't know. It's a fancy convention center. I feel like they got a good air exchange in there.
Yep, that's
true. Has really high ceilings.
That's true. There's probably lots of space and lots of fresh air coming in, hopefully. It'll just be you and I on stage, so
yeah.
That should be fine. Nobody gets sick before convention.
And if you do, don't come. We'll give you a live reading.
Yes.
Some other time.
Yes, that's right.
Just bring us a doctor's note.
Yeah, that's right. We'll require a doctor's note for the reading.
Megan, do you have a Halloween costume?
No. No, I do not. I haven't even been thinking about Halloween at all, to be honest with you. I know it's only like a week and a half, 2 weeks away from this point where we're recording, but yeah, haven't been thinking about it. You?
Yeah, we already talked about mine.
Yeah, that's right. I got nothing. I'm sorry. I have a tooth I gotta fix. That's gonna take up all my money and all my attention over the next couple of weeks.
But it's the most wonderful time of the year.
It is. Yeah, I do enjoy Halloween, but yeah, I'm not probably going out anywhere. Like I'll probably go to your Halloween party, but that's about it. And I don't know.
You know it's mandatory costumes required. I do. You're not allowed to enter.
I do know that, but Security's it might just be like parties. A closet cosplay this year.
That's fine.
I got no extra anything to go buy things with my expenses with my tooth coming up. Good times. I'll think of something. Don't worry.
Well, let us tell a story. So we can't do spooky season without visiting at least one haunted castle, or so I've decided on my own, because I did one last year.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, your haunted house one last year was wild.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if I'd ever want to do any of those types of haunted houses.
When I was searching for a story to do, the first line I read about this place was that it had more murders than Game of Thrones. So my interest was piqued.
A haunted house has more murders?
No, a castle.
Oh, a castle. I thought you said a haunted house. I don't know.
I said a haunted castle.
Oh, okay. Maybe that's where I clearly just blocked out the word castle and replaced it with house for some reason.
We are 5 minutes in and Megan's already not listening to me.
It's not true. I think I'm just replacing words in my head. Anyway, continue.
We are traveling to one of our favorite places. We are going to Ireland because they have all the best castles over on that part of the world.
Do they ever? I want to see every single one of them.
bold. Start a bucket list.
I need to get a bucket list going, yes, because that's the only way it's going to happen.
Today, we are going to be talking about Leap Castle. There is historical debate about when it was actually first built, but it was somewhere between the 13th and 15th century. On the Leap Castle website, they say it was the early 1500s. Before it was a castle, the site was actually used by druids for initiation ceremonies. And so they think that there was some stone structure on the land already.
Oh.
And then they kind of just built off of that and made it into a full-on castle.
Cool.
So we're going to go through the very, very bloody history first, and then we'll go into the ghosts and the hauntings and the spirits and that kind of stuff.
Okay.
But through the history, it will be very clear why Leap Castle is very haunted. Originally, the castle was built by the O'Bannon clan, and Leap Castle was originally named something in Gaelic that I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce because I tried to look up pronunciation, and I don't have a sweet clue how to put those consonants and vowels together.
Really?
So, yes. I do not know.
Okay.
Whatever I guess is going to be wrong, and I know it is. So
Okay.
I will just tell you, this thing in Gaelic translated to Leap of the O'Bannons.
Okay.
So whatever that is in Gaelic, that's what it was called.
Yeah. Those of you who know Gaelic, you will be able to decipher what that is.
Yeah, tell me. I can give you the spelling, but I certainly don't know how to put those letters together.
Exactly.
Legend has it that two of the O'Bannon brothers were competing with each other to see who would be the leader of their clan. And this was when they were going to have this castle built, and one of them wanted to be in charge of the castle, so they were fighting over it. It was decided that the only way to decide a winner was with a show of bravery and strength. The obvious competition to have here was that they would jump off of the rocky outcropping where the castle was being built, and whoever survived the jump was considered the winner and had the honor of ruling the clan and the castle.
What? That's the obvious solution.
That's obviously, Megan, that is the only solution here, is that we jump off a cliff together.
Wow. I didn't think of that, but I guess I'm not Captain Obvious.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so that's why it's called the Leap of the O'Bannons. From the get-go, the castle was fueled with death and blood, as evidenced by the first person in charge was decided by jumping off a cliff.
Legit. Did they just I'm sorry. I'm still thinking about that. Did they just clean off the spot where they jumped off and likely didn't survive? Or what?
Well, they probably left them down there wherever they were.
Okay. Swept away by the animals and wind and
maybe
I there's water down there. Who knows?
They didn't seem concerned, because if you didn't survive, then you weren't built to lead the clan. So then who cares?
Fair, I guess. Yeah. Yep. Makes sense. Savage.
Not a great start for the castle.
No.
Eventually, the castle was taken over by the other ruling clan in the area, the O'Carroll clan. They used it as a stronghold, and it was said at the time that no other castle was as fortified as the Leap. The O'Carrolls were said to be very fierce and brutal. The clan was hell-bent on domination of other clans and would make sure that they had it by any means necessary.
I really want to just watch a Game of Thrones style show about these families.
Just wait. It gets very Game of Thrones.
I am loving this already.
There's so much murder. It's hard to keep track of who murdered who.
Yeah. Like you say, there's so much murder right after I say I'm loving this so much. I mean, where I'm standing on this one.
Yeah. So they were said to be very ruthless, and they would kill whoever stood in the way of what they wanted, even if that was members of their own family and clan.
Wow.
Yeah.
Brutal.
I imagine a lot of awkward family dinners
Yeah.
in that clan.
Yeah, we really don't want to sit there and eat with, JoJo's head on a pike or something sitting beside the table or something.
John O'Carroll was thought to be the first prince of Ely who lived at the Leap Castle. So the first O'Carroll man to be in charge is this John Carroll. He eventually died at Leap Castle, suffering from the plague. He was succeeded by his son, Mulroney O'Carroll. Mulroney actually had a very well-known reputation for his bravery and strength, and he was considered a great leader. So starting off, they were doing okay. The O'Carrolls were doing okay.
Mm-hmm. Sounds like it.
Yeah. Starting off, it's not
You're
so bad.
You're building it up, though. I can tell.
So he was actually known as the Great Mulroney and ruled over the Leap for 42 years. So he was very, very well respected.
Oh, nice. Okay.
He died there in 1532. The Leap then passed to his son. This name is a real handle, and I'm going to do my best. I think it's Fyrgenheim. Which does not sound Irish to me. No. That sounds like it's from Norway. But I don't know. I could be saying it wrong is the
Secret
problem.
Love child, maybe.
I have no idea. I could be saying it wrong. There's a lot of letters in there. But if I sound it out, it's literally the word fear, gone, and heim.
Fear,
so we're going to go with Fyrgenheim.
That's how I would say it too.
Yeah. So he was a lot less great than the Great Mulroney.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. He had a penchant for murder, so not great. He was the kind of guy that invited a guest over for dinner and while sitting at the dinner table would just murder them at the table.
What?
Yeah.
Just because? Like...
Just... They were in the way of something. He didn't like what they said. They were not jiving with his jive. So just murder.
Maybe just don't go to dinner with this person.
Right. Fyrgenheim, not a good dinner partner.
The fear part comes into play here. Mm-hmm. Got it.
Yep. Another awkward family dinner with the O'Carrolls.
Yep.
Fyrgenheim was murdered in 1541 by the O'Mulloys. I think it's O'Mulloys. And
O'Malley's?
No. Mull.
Ah.
Yes. Like the Mullriver Shuffle.
Oh. Listen, I only heard that song for the first time ever, like at my best friend's wedding. Same day as your wedding.
Yeah.
So that's how long
Wait, you'd
ago.
never heard it before?
I had never heard of that song before.
Oh, get with it, girl.
I know. I was really surprised when literally everybody got up and knew the dance. I was like, Absolutely. What is happening right now?
Get with it. You live in Nova Scotia. Figure it out.
I apparently did not grow up in the areas that played this song very much. Not on the South Shore anyway. Once
Fyrgenheim was murdered, the Leap passed to his sons. So he had quite a few of them. They were Teague, the One-Eyed, William, Malrunid, Euethany. I think I said that right. Euethany.
Okay.
Euethany.
Mm-hmm.
I was doing good. Teague and William nailed it.
Easy.
And then we get into whatever that was, first one I said was, and it doesn't matter. They don't play integral parts.
Okay.
But it went to them. So it went to his 4 sons.
Okay.
However, you can't have 4 people in charge. That does not work.
No. Usually it would be the oldest.
You'd think. I don't know why it didn't just automatically go to the oldest.
They didn't have that rule in place. That is why they put the rule in place, because whatever happens next in this story, I feel like not going to be good.
It's not good.
No.
Mr. One-Eyed Teague was very quick to jump up as the one in command. He wanted to rule the castle. And because he did that, he was quickly killed by his own kinsman, Cahir, which just makes me think of The Witcher.
This reminds me, you know what this reminds me of is what? The what is it called? The Underworld in R.A. Salvatore. Sorry, it's been a long time since I read those books. R.A. Salvatore's Drizzt series. They start out in the like underground where all the drow live, and it's literally the same thing. Like family siblings will like kill each other, so they'll be the next in line or whatever the case may be.
Oh,
like,
Lord.
I know, it's so savage. It's crazy.
Well, that's what we got going on here.
Mm-hmm.
Brother rivalry. So people weren't happy that Teague was in charge. So his kinsman Cahir murdered him. And then because of that, Cahir was killed by Teague's younger brother, William. William became known as William the Pale, and he took over, which, I mean...
The pale as in, like, he's got pale skin? Or
I don't know.
Because he...
That's a lame one.
Not Impaler. I was thinking, like, Vlad the Impaler.
No, it's like pale,
like
the shade.
Okay.
Yeah. So he must have been very pasty.
Just pastier than everyone else.
Yeah. But his very short ruling didn't go well, and he was murdered in 1581 by a relative in the O'Connor clan. So then his son John took over. And also, by the way, down the generation line, they keep naming their kids the same thing.
They're so unoriginal.
There's a lot of the same names going around. So if you're like, wait, didn't that name happen earlier and didn't he die? Yes. And there's another one.
Okay. But they didn't go by like John the 3rd or John the 18th or whatever.
They did not in the O'Carroll clan.
Okay. So make it confusing. Got it.
Yeah. So this is another, I mean, it doesn't really matter. This is just to point out how much murder there was.
Right.
And how ruthless they were.
And all of these happened in the castle walls.
Yes. Yes,
Great.
They did.
Love that.
So William the Pale murdered. His son John took over the castle, but the next year he was also killed by his cousin Mulroney, who was actually the son of Teague the One-Eyed.
Oh my god!
So different Mulroney, son of Teague the One-Eyed, killed his cousin John, who was William's son.
They don't even let it go like after one full generation before they reuse the same names.
No.
That's hilarious.
So this murder, so John's murder was quickly avenged by John's brother, Charles, who killed Mulroney.
This is like Game of Thrones because I can't follow who's who and who's killing who. So many people.
Yep. And so then Charles was now the new prince of Ely. He was also killed, though, in 1586. So there was just like a pretty quick waterfall of murders.
Sounds like it, like literally within 5-6 years of each other.
Yes.
Okay, great.
Less than 5 years, all those murders.
Wonderful. That's got to give some really good positive energy flowing in there.
Yeah, there wasn't, I don't think there was a lot of happy times in that castle.
Guessing not. Everyone's on edge at all times for...
Oh my God. I don't know how you'd relax ever.
I don't think there's a possibility of doing that ever.
No. The O'Carroll clan was not afraid to murder strangers or family, as we can see.
You don't say.
No. Charles did have a bit of a longer reign at the Leap, but he was eventually killed in 1600. This murder was in retaliation to Charles having previously killed 150 of his own men at the castle, as well as some nobles in the McMahon clan.
They must be so confident that they're never going to get attacked by another clan or another country or whatever to kill their own men like that. Like, whoa.
Yeah.
Wow.
So the story goes that, and we're going to learn something about the haunting later that you'll figure out why they're so confident.
Okay.
But yeah. So the story goes that Charles had lost trust in his men. And when it came time to pay them for their service of whatever they had just done for him, He and a few of his trusted men killed them all while they were sleeping in their quarters. The whole 150 of them.
Oh, I do not understand that. I get not trusting them, but like, I think there's other methods of dealing with that instead of killing them all.
Not in that clan.
Apparently
there wasn't.
Not. Only solution, murder.
Murder.
Steal an apple, murder.
The next record of who ruled the Leap was in 1649, so 49 years after Charles ruled. I'm not sure what happened in those 49 years, but in 1649, it was handed over to the first of the Darby clan line. So we got a new clan taken over here. Jonathan was his name, Jonathan Darby, and he was a soldier of the Cromwellian forces. And in lieu of pay, he was given the property.
Just given it to him?
Yes.
Wow.
Well, they couldn't pay him, so they gave it to him.
Well,
whoever was in charge of whatever this was.
Kill him.
Well, it wasn't the O'Carrolls. The O'Carrolls did not give it to him.
I see.
So for all it was handed over to Jonathan Darby, in 1664, the property was handed back to John O'Carroll, another O'Carroll person, due to his continued loyalty to Charles I. But 3 years later, this arrangement was reversed because Charles II had very differing views about the O'Carrolls. So now the Leap went back to the Darby clan. And that is where it's going to stay for a while.
I'm telling you right now, like thinking about moving an entire castle's worth of stuff just makes me exhausted thinking about it. And moving that soon after you move in.
Oh, yeah. So there's nothing really overly special about the Darby history in the castle. There wasn't any crazy murdering sprees or anything. Jonathan Darby passed it on to his son, Jonathan, also named Jonathan. And then they kept having children named Jonathan for a long time.
Your name is Jonathan, and your
literally
name is Jonathan.
I was reading and I was like glossing over because there's nothing exciting, and it was just like, and then it went to Jonathan the Fifth and blah blah blah, and he married whatever Florence, and then that's not the real name, something. So there's nothing really special there.
John Eva and John.
Yeah. Eventually, it moved from children named Jonathan over to a brother, and it kind of passed through family members until they would pass away, and it would kind of just keep moving down the line of succession. So with the Darby clan, lots of people died and were born there, but it was nothing out of the ordinary. Like, it seemed to just kind of be dying of natural causes or whatever it was, injuries. Mm-hmm. It didn't seem like anybody was murdered.
Nobody was out to get each other or them.
No, they seemed like a more civilized clan.
Mm-hmm.
With the castle having spent its existence in the hands of those who swore allegiance to the British crown, the castle represented turbulence and pain for a lot of Irish locals. So they were not happy with who ran the castle.
Mm.
In the early morning hours of Sunday, July 30th, 1922, so we took a real big jump here. Now we're in 1922. A party of 11 Irish raiders descended on the Leap and decided that they were going to set fire to it.
Uh-oh.
Yes. So Richard Dawkins was the caretaker of the Leap at the time, and he claims that him and his wife and baby were the only people in the castle at the time.
I was going to ask if there were people living in the castle in 1922. Probably not.
Yes, but not at this time.
Oh, okay.
So they had this caretaker. So this Richard Dawkins, him and his family lived there 24/7.
Okay.
And then they would watch it. It seemed like it eventually kind of became like a summer home or like a vacation home kind of thing.
Gotcha.
Like, it wasn't a full-time home.
Right.
So Richard, his wife, and baby were the only people home at the time. And there was a knock at the door at 2:20 a.m. He opened the window to stick his head out to kind of see what was going on and why somebody was knocking that late. and he saw men outside who said they wanted a night's lodging and ordered him to open the castle door. He went downstairs and he opened the door and offered to, see what they wanted and help them. And that's when they pulled a gun on him.
What? Why?
They then told him that they intended to burn down the castle.
Can you burn
Richard asked
down
if
a castle?
they want to, you can burn down everything in the castle.
In the castle, yeah, because it's like made out of stone, right?
Yeah, but everything inside would be wood.
I guess.
So Richard asked if they would allow him to get his wife and baby out, and they gave him exactly 20 minutes to get out of the castle.
That seems like a lot of time. I'm surprised they gave him that much time.
Yeah. I mean, they didn't just stand there and wait. They went in and they poured gas over the rooms.
Great.
They destroyed a bunch of furniture, just kind of ransacked the place. And then they set it all on fire.
This seems so random. Like, why would they do that? Just hellions trying to...
So the people that were in charge of the castle, like the O'Carrolls and the Darbys and everybody, they were tight with the British, and the Irish didn't like that.
So in 1922, they decided to take revenge on stuff that happened like hundreds of years before that?
No, it's happening right now. So the Darby clan owns the castle right now, and they swore allegiance to the British crown.
In 1922?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So at that same time. And so the Irish people of that town didn't like that.
Got it. Okay. Sorry. I did not follow that.
Yeah. They didn't want that castle to be in allegiance with the British crown.
Interesting. Okay.
So set everything on fire. They stood outside, all holding guns next to Richard and his family from 2:30 a.m. until 5 a.m. They made him stand outside and watch it burn.
Well, at least they let him leave, I guess.
Yeah.
That would be a sin if they burned it down.
Burned him alive.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I don't think they were looking to kill anyone. They were just looking to destroy it.
Right.
So they ended up... so after the fire, the main part of the castle was still intact. And Richard was able to save some of the furniture, which he stored in out offices, but those were later broken into and looted by people from the neighborhood who devoted every Sunday to making visits to the castle and the building and taking home anything they could find that wasn't burnt or nailed to the ground.
Okay, well, if nobody's living there and monitoring the property, then I guess...
I mean, Richard was, but he's only one man.
Yeah, and I don't think they pay him enough for that shit.
No.
Just going to assume that that's the case.
So after the fire, the north wing of the castle was destroyed. That's the part that ended up burning. I don't know if somebody put the fire out or if it just kind of fizzled out. I have no idea, but it was just the north wing that got destroyed and all of the valuable contents that were in that part of the castle. Right after the fire, Richard took his family to live in the Gate Lodge on the property. And the Monday right after the fire, he had a knock on the door at 4:20 a.m. and men were standing there asking for paraffin oil. He said he didn't have any, and so the men left. And later he went down to the castle to see that the south wing of the Leap, which had survived the first fire, was now on fire.
Great.
Yeah. He was unable to save the majority of what was inside, so most of the expensive furniture and paintings had all ended up burning in the second fire.
Man.
So for the most part, at this point, the castle was pretty destroyed. Ton of damage to it. Everything inside burnt, and then just, structural damage from having a fire burn inside of it.
That sucks.
The stone structure was obviously still there, but,
ruins now.
Everything, windows, doors, everything would get destroyed.
Oh, that sucks. All that history up in flames. I hate it.
Right. However, slight good news. It did remain in ruins until musician Sean Ryan and his wife Anne bought the castle in 1991.
Ooh, I don't know who that is.
I don't either.
Okay.
He could just be like, you know.
Local celebrity, maybe.
I mean, he could also just be somebody that plays music. You don't have to be famous to be a musician.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah.
That's true. I immediately go to fame and fortune. Celebrity. Worldwide celebrity.
Sean rebuilt the castle based on pictures from before the fire that he could find. So the Ryans actually still live there, and you can go visit their castle.
What?
Yeah.
Do they have it like on tours and stuff?
Well, they book tours if you contact them, and Ryan or Sean will give you a tour, and he'll tell you all about the history of the ghosts and the leap itself. Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool. I love that.
Yeah. He just asks for you to send him like an email to his personal email and arrange a time.
I mean, I feel like you gotta have a little bit of cash if you are owning a castle. And
well, so to do the tour, they ask a donation of €6, which would be like $8 Canadian, for just to help pay for the renovations and the restoration of the castle. Which I feel like
that
$8
is
for a tour?
Very reasonable.
It's
if
so
not
cheap.
Highway robbery.
No.
For him, I mean, because like I feel like that's too cheap.
Yeah.
Actually, €20 or something.
Yeah.
See a castle? That'd be so cool.
So that's the history of the castle, which we can see. There's a lot of
that
murder.
In and of
lot
itself
chaos.
was a great story.
Right. And that's it. We're done.
Yeah. Awesome. Great story. Yeah.
We learned about a castle.
Have a great night. We'll see you at HellCon. And
So now it's time for the hauntings and the ghosts and the spirits and the things that go bump in the night.
ooh, my favorite part. It's already my favorite part, and I don't even know what you're going to say.
The first one we're going to talk about is called the Bloody Chapel.
Ooh.
Which just, when I heard that, it made me think of the Red Wedding in Game of Thrones.
Literally same. I just thought the same thing. This is the second time I've thought of it tonight, because you mentioned about how they would go over there for supper or for whatever eating, and then he would basically just kill his guests if they said something he didn't like. And that immediately made me think of the Red Wedding too.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, now we're talking about the Bloody Chapel. Same.
Yeah. There are said to be a lot of spirits that still live in the Bloody Chapel. Originally, this was just the chapel of the castle, sans bloody title. But during the Forever O'Carroll clan power struggle, one of the men ended up murdering his brother in the chapel to gain power and rule the castle. His brother, they were kind of feuding for power, and his brother happened to be a priest, and he went in the chapel to perform mass, and he didn't wait for his brother to start the mass, and that pissed his brother off.
Oof.
So while the priest O'Carroll was in the middle of performing mass, his brother flew into the chapel and just slaughtered him in front of everyone.
Wow, that's super good reason to murder your brother.
Yeah. He said it was a sign of disrespect that he started mass without him being present.
Wow. Disrespected God for killing somebody in the church.
Yeah.
Well, your logic is a little skewed, but
It's a little off.
a
The
little bit.
O'Carrolls are a little, they're a little
backwards.
sideways thinking.
Yeah. Wow.
That is when it got the title of Bloody Chapel.
Okay, that's fair.
The spirit of the murdered priest has been seen a lot. A lot of people see him going up and down the stairs near where he was killed and leaving the chapel in the western door before he just kind of disappears. So people don't really see him very far from the chapel. He just kind of disappears and then will reappear back at the chapel. At night, people have reported a bright light shining out of the upper windows that can be seen from the outside, but there won't actually be anyone awake in the chapel at the time. But from the outside, it looks like there is. Like they'll see this glowing light. This sighting of the light has been reported throughout the Darby's reign of the Leap and even the Ryans now in present time. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Cool.
They found that even neighbors would contact the Ryans and let them know that they saw light in the chapel to be like, you should check to make sure that somebody isn't breaking into the castle. Like,
true, yeah.
We see a light on.
I guess your first thought is not, ghosts.
Yeah.
Fair.
So the Ryans would investigate, and there would never be anything or anyone there.
Ooh, that's so interesting.
Yeah. People often, when they go in there, they also report they smell a strange smell of rubber. I don't know why. It doesn't really explain that.
I wonder if that's like a residual smell from when there were fires. So like
maybe.
You know how sometimes like in haunted sites that had been burned, there's like a residual smell of smoke in the air, even though there's literally no smoke damage, like been completely renovated and stuff like that. You can still smell. I just wonder if it's something like that.
Maybe. I don't know. Rubber's like very odd one. I would think fire would be more like, okay, that makes sense. But I don't know why rubber. Something happened involving rubber.
Yeah, that's very interesting.
So for all this was a chapel, it had a very dark secret. It had an oubliette. Do you know what an oubliette is?
I do not. What is that word?
Well, it's a French word.
Enlighten me.
It's kind of like a form of dungeon almost.
Oh my God. In a chapel?
Well, okay. So the word means it means forgotten. So it's a place where you can put stuff to kind of be forgotten or hidden.
Okay.
So it's supposed to be like a forgotten room
Got
almost.
It. Okay.
It's said that the reason the Leap had one of these connected to the chapel specifically was to hide valuables and to use it as a place to hide in the event of a siege. Because usually it'd be behind some kind of trap door, like a secret door.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So the thought behind it was, because it's not necessarily always a bad thing, but oubliettes very rarely get used for good things.
Yeah, true.
And I feel like we've learned a lot about the O'Carroll clan today. And so, Megan, do you think they used it for good things or for bad things?
Let me think for a minute. Definitely bad things.
Bad things. Yeah. Yeah. They had some alternative uses planned.
Mm-hmm.
They modified the chamber to be a real legit dungeon to just put people in and forget about them.
Oh my gosh, no.
Yeah. Basically, people either alive, dying, or just already dead. There was a very narrow hole that was fitted with a trapdoor, and they would just toss people down there.
Oh.
Boop, close the door, done. Never to see or speak to you again.
And obviously there's no way out.
Nope, there is not.
Great. Love that.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh my gosh. So like, did the Darbys find it? They must have.
You were right on the nose, my friend.
Oh.
And oh boy, what did they find?
Oh no. I don't even want to know. How many people were down there?
Yeah. So, as the name implies, oubliette, it's meant to be a place where forgotten things go.
I feel like there would be a smell. I'm
surprised. There had to be. But I imagine stuff was maybe just always kind of stinky then.
Maybe. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, that's definitely a fair assumption. Yeah.
Yeah. And so
if they
learned
put
the O'Carroll
candles and incense or something like that in the chapel, maybe to cover it. I don't know.
I don't know either. Maybe it was a well-lined oubliette.
Yeah, maybe. Gross.
Because we learned that the O'Carrolls were such a brutal and ruthless clan, it was said that they would often, this is where we're going to learn about how they kind of had no fear about stuff. They would often hire other clans as mercenaries to kill nearby threats or other clans that wanted to invade them. So they would basically team up with mercenaries, offer them, we'll pay you if you help us do this thing. Once the mercenary job was done and the O'Carroll's enemies were defeated, they would invite that clan or group of mercenaries, whatever it was, back to the Leap for a big celebratory feast and to receive their payment afterwards.
No.
But
their payment was the Oubliette.
Yeah, that is the, that's where the payment's going, right in the Oubliette.
No. Oh my gosh. How many people? Do you know?
Yes.
Okay, you're getting there. I'm sorry. I'm just really invested in this part of the story right now.
So they usually, either they would poison the feast and just have people eat it and die, or they would just cut all the throats of the mercenaries at dinner. Just like one quick, swift
How is this
attack.
A real, true life story? Like,
I know, it seems like an episode of Game of Thrones.
It does. It literally does. Like, I feel like this is so far-fetched. Even, like, movie producers would probably be like, no, this is too far-fetched to be believed as real. I can't even imagine. Oh, my gosh.
So once they murdered all of the mercenaries, then they would just throw all the bodies down in the Oubliette. There was one specific time where they disposed of 39 members of the O'Neill clan this way.
Just one time?
Just once, yeah.
Oh my gosh. I don't know what I was expecting as a number, but I was just expecting like that around that for like the whole number.
The total?
That you were
no, that was just one time.
Oh my gosh. Okay, continue.
In this year that I wrote down is not correct. I can tell you right now because it says 1959, so I'm sorry.
The Ryans. Oh wait, they didn't take it.
No, I think this is probably 1659, possibly 15. No, it's probably 1659. Charles O'Carroll hired the McMahon clan to help him destroy his enemy. They were all invited back to the Leap for a feast. And once all of the clan was sleeping, because they did kind of party there and they let them crash there, Charles then had them all killed in their sleep.
Oh, wow.
And put in the Oubliette.
Why? Like, I just feel like at this point they're just seeing how many people they can kill, not for any
Well, because otherwise
reason.
they'd have to pay them.
I mean, I guess they obviously want to keep their money.
Yeah, and they don't care. They're fine with murder.
Oh my gosh.
The spirits of the McMahon clan, a lot of people claim that they do still haunt the Great Hall, not the chapel necessarily, because they had the big feast in the Great Hall. People think that's why they kind of stay there, but they do it. I don't know what makes people think it's them. I don't know if it's what they're wearing, if they have like clan tartan or something on. I have no idea, but a lot of people do report that this specific clan their spirits are in the Great Hall. Once the Darbys took over the Leap Castle, like you hypothesized, Megan, they had the Oubliette cleaned out and all of the contents of what they found in there were removed during renovations. It took 3 full carts to carry out all of the skeletons that were removed, and it was estimated that there were at least 150 separate skeletons in there.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Wow. Just from that one family. Like, holy crap. That is, wow. And like, can you imagine, like, just envision people pulling skeletons out of this castle and piling them into
I'd rather not.
to the wagons. Like, I just picture that as like the most absurd thing that anyone probably could ever see or imagine. Like, wow. I just can't imagine.
After all of these bones were removed, it's believed that this really awakened a lot of spirits, and a lot of hauntings seemed to really come alive in the castle once they kind of disturbed everything that was down there.
Really? I would think the opposite, that like hauntings would stop happening after the bodies were removed because they would be like put to rest or whatever.
There's like there's like one theory later that has to do with something else, but maybe one reason, I don't believe it, why some people think that it could have happened. It also could just be they were sealed in there for so long.
That could be it
and
too.
So disturbing it kind of set it all free.
That sounds, well, I mean, I guess that's more believable to me than it being disturbed and being able to haunt it after the fact. Interesting.
This is all very unfortunate for the Darbys because they sound like a way less murdery clan.
Yeah.
And they just wanted to take all the skeletons out of their house and then got them a bunch of ghosts.
Things you did not have on your list of things to do when you move into your new home.
Yeah.
Removing 150 skeletons.
Sean Ryan, the current owner, he said that he would very often see the spirit of a man who he thinks lives in the Oubliette. Like, he thinks that obviously he was either put down there alive and died or put down there dead, because he would see him leave the chapel sometimes and wander down to other areas, but he would always return down into the Oubliette.
Interesting.
Which is sad. That makes me sad.
Did they keep the Oubliette as like a place to store valuables after the fact?
I would assume they probably don't put anything down there.
Yeah, they probably. I was wondering if they like blocked it off or put up bricks or concrete, or not concrete, whatever they had back then.
Yeah,
Stone.
I'm not sure. It didn't really say. There's another room in the castle that's referred to as the murder hole room.
Oh, God.
Or the muckle hole room.
Muckle? What is that?
Yeah, it's very different vibes.
I do not get murder from muckle. Like, what does muckle even
I don't know.
mean?
It could mean something different in Ireland.
Okay, yeah.
Like how over here we say fanny pack and a fanny is your butt.
True.
But in England, it is not your butt. Do you not know what it is?
No.
It is your vajayjay.
Oh, really?
So if you're saying fanny pack, you're saying like vajayjay pack.
I don't think I've ever said that over there, but that's actually hilarious.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah. So who knows? Maybe muckle means murder over there.
Maybe.
I have no idea.
Yep. Fair enough.
I say muckle like if I'm going to like muckle onto my husband, like I'm going to snuggle him.
Oh, really?
Right
See,
on.
when I
say
heard
that all the
it,
time.
When I heard it, I immediately thought of like muckle around, like goof around, muckle. I don't know why.
Oh no, I've never heard it like that.
I've never heard the word before, so I don't know why I have that impression of what it means.
Yeah, we say it as in like if I'm cold, then my husband will be like, "Come on, muckle on over here, like muckle up," and I'll like muckle onto him, like you just and you just like snuggle in.
Yes, I've never heard that before. That's
I'm gonna call it murder holing now. Come on, murder hole over here.
Enjoy that new conversation with your husband.
So for this room and the next couple of spirits, we're going to hear testimony from, I guess testimony is a fine word.
Sure.
From Mildred, from Mildred Darby. So she was one of the wives of, I'm assuming one of the Jonathans.
One of the Darbys?
Probably. He's either one of the Jonathans or Charles.
Okay.
She was somebody's wife that ruled in the castle for a while, and she lived there for quite a long time. And she gave record of what people saw. So the quotes from her are going to be kind of word for word. Like I'm going to read right. Whoa. Let me just get this sentence out. It's fallen out of my murder hole. I'm just going to read word for word what she said.
Okay.
So this is Mildred's retelling of her experience in the murder hole room. I put my hand out of bed, snapping my fingers to call for Nell, which was her terrier dog. Mm-hmm. My hand was suddenly in the grasp of another hand.
Oh.
A soft, cool hand at a temperature perceptibly below my own flesh.
Oh, that gives me chills. Oh my God, that literally gave me a chill. Wow. Okay.
To say I was astonished would but mildly convey my feelings. After a few seconds of steady pressure, the other hand let go, and almost simultaneously, I heard a heavy, sliding fall, like the collapse of a large body at the foot of the bed.
Oh, I would never leave bed ever. Oh my God. No, it's so creepy.
Then, in the absolute stillness of the room, there sounded a deep human groan and some half-articulated words, or to be accurate, prayers. People have complained before, in fact. We don't generally put anyone there now. The room is called the muckle or murder hole room, and the story goes that the stain on the floor is the blood of a man stabbed there by his brother. Two O'Carrolls quarreled over the ownership of the castle. The room had been disused for 50 years or more when we did it up. The stain has been planed off the boards several times, but it always comes again, creeps up from below within a few hours. So that's why it's called the muckle hole.
I was trying to stay quiet the whole time because I'm like, I don't want to react to literally everything you're saying, but all of that terrifies me to my core.
Right?
Like, whoa, I cannot believe the history of this castle. Like, whoa.
Right?
This is now on my bucket list. This is the
I know.
first one going right on. Wow.
There are two young girl spirits that are often seen at Leap Castle. They are mostly seen playing in the main hall and running up the stairwell. It's thought that they both lived in the castle during the 1600s. Charlotte, one of them, has been seen with a deformed leg that drags backwards behind her. And the other one is Emily. She died at age 11 after falling from the castle's southeastern battlements. People outside the castle have reported seeing a girl fall from the roof, but then she disappears right before she hits the ground.
Oh, I would hate to see that.
Right? That would be horrifying.
Wouldn't it? Like, you'd be so sad and scared for this little girl not being able to do anything to help, and then they just disappear right before your eyes. Like, I don't even know the emotions that would go through me in that moment.
No. Mildred Darby has an account of seeing a little girl at the castle. It didn't specify if it was one of these two or if she didn't know or if it was just a third one, but this is what she said. Another night I was sleeping with my little girl. I awoke and I saw a girl with long fair hair standing at the fireplace, one hand at her side, the other on the chimney piece. Thinking at first it was my little girl, I felt on the pillow to see if she were gone. But she was fast asleep. There was no fire or light of any kind in the room.
Oof.
So very creepy.
So creepy, honestly. I can't imagine seeing something like that and then just feel beside me and the person is still there. So that's not what I'm looking at. Like the cold chill that just ran through my body thinking about that. Oh, it's so creepy.
The governess or nanny is a spirit that's usually seen in the main hall and often seen with the two girls, Emily and Charlotte. Guests have reported being touched or the feeling of having someone brush past them when she's there. A friend of Sean Ryan was having lunch at Leap Castle one day, and both him and the female guest were sitting near the fire. And they just all of a sudden saw this very proud lady in Victorian attire start walking diagonally across the main hall. Like, you know, you like walk with a purpose.
Yes.
Kind of. They just saw, and this is like the 90s or the 2000s. I didn't say what year, but he took it over in 1991. This woman just appeared in Victorian attire and just started walking across the main hall, the room that they were in.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. I would want to know what she was so proud about, but like
maybe
also,
going to scold the kids. I don't know.
Maybe.
The friend had previously been skeptical and wasn't a believer in ghosts and spirits and hauntings, but they both saw this spirit plain as day. So the friend very quickly changed their mind about the hauntings.
I can't imagine. Like, how do you just carry on after that? After seeing something like that?
Yeah.
Like, anyway, what I was saying before we were so rudely interrupted
by
this
that
ghost.
So in that same great hall, there's also an older man spirit that's been seen quite a few times sitting peacefully by the fire. And he's described by Mildred Darby, and she says, quote, "There is a little old man with a green cutaway coat, knee breeches, bright shoe buckles, holding a leathern bag in his hand, sometimes seen with a little old woman with skinny hands, long black mitts, old-fashioned dress, and a big headdress. Both are sometimes seen with an old man dressed like a priest with an intensely cunning face. The green old man tries to stop people when they walk by." End quote.
Interesting. How does he stop them?
Maybe like tries to reach out to them or something. I don't know what to say.
Do not touch me.
Yeah.
That would be so weird. Oh.
There's also a priest's house on the property, and there was a lot of reports of spirit activity there, especially when the Darbys were in charge. Now there are still reports of shadowy forms wandering through the empty building. So Mildred again describes what her family had seen in the priest's house. Quote, "There is something heavy that lies on people's beds and snores. They feel the weight of a great body pressing against them."
I just can't, it just sounds like such a normal thing for these people to see and hear, and just, I can't imagine. Just imagining these. I'm imagining myself in all these scenarios that you're saying, so it's like, how would I react at these moments? Apparently I would laugh.
So she goes on to describe him, whoever the spirit is, "A burly man in rough clothes, like a peasant. He always pushes a heavy barrel up the back stairs of the wing, near the servants' bedrooms. And when just at the top, the barrel rolls down and all disappears. A monk with a tonsure? I don't know what that is. A monk with a tonsure and cowl walks in at one window and out another in the priest's house." End quote.
Wow.
Another one of the spirits that gives me the heebie-jeebies is a woman spirit who they think was someone killed by the O'Carrolls. The story is that two of the O'Carroll brothers were fighting over her because they both wanted her as a lover. She ended up being chased by them and then stabbed to death in the castle.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Yikes.
So when her spirit is seen, she has very few clothes on and a red cloth covering her face. When you see her, she screams very loudly twice at you and then just disappears.
Oh, no, thank you.
Yeah, that one gets me.
Oh my gosh. Could you imagine?
Just the screeching twice and then disappeared? No.
Right?
No, I'm out of there.
Oh. At you. Like you're the brothers trying to stab her.
Yeah.
Oh my God. That's so horrific. Wow. Not sure I'd want to see that one.
No. And Mildred did describe one night that she saw her. So she said, quote, "One night I was sitting talking with my governess. I got up, said goodnight, and opened the door, which was at the top of the back staircase. As I did so, I heard someone, a woman, come slowly upstairs, walked past us to a window at the end of the landing, then shrieked, and then she just fell and disappeared."
Oh my God. That's so creepy. Yeah. Also, this poor woman's soul is just replaying
tortured.
That wow. What a sin. She needs to move on.
Yeah. Sean Ryan also reported hearing women shrieks. I don't know if it's the same woman, but he did hear them as well.
Oh, that's so creepy. I would hate to hear random shrieks coming from my
goodness
home. No, thank you. That never means anything good.
No. Another lady spirit that a lot of people see is called the Red Lady. She's been described as a very tall woman wearing a red dress who carries a dagger in her hand and raises it up towards people in a very threatening way. People that see her describe a strange luminescence radiating from within her, and those that encounter her describe an extreme cold feeling filling the room, and they say it's more than just it feels cold. They feel like the cold actually seeps into their heart. It's so cold.
Oh my, what?
Yeah.
Why did I just think of Lady Dimitrescu?
You know what? When I read tall, I thought the same thing as well.
Not the red part, but definitely the tall part. And also how like the cold seeping into your heart. Like, I feel like that's something that she would do too.
Yeah.
Wow. Ugh.
With this spirit, the story is that it's thought that she was captured by an O'Carroll man and assaulted, and then ended up having a baby who was then killed by that same O'Carroll. And the woman was so distraught over the killing of the baby that she grabbed that same dagger and just killed herself. And so she haunts specifically the blue room in the castle, which I guess was always historically used as the nursery through all the different clans. And so she's seen with the dagger threatening people. And then she's also seen at the foot of children's beds sobbing.
Oh, that's horrifying.
Yeah.
Traumatized for life if I was a child and woke up and saw that.
Yeah. Very, very freaky. A guest of the Darbys submitted their account to the Occult Review of what they experienced. So this one's a little longer. Quote. And I will say I'll just replace the word. They didn't want to release whose house it was, so they didn't say Darby. They said another name, but I'll just say Darby because now it's out there.
Okay.
Quote, on the 31st of October, I went to my bedroom about 11 p.m.
That's
During
Halloween.
the night.
I'm sorry.
I know, right?
Oh, I feel like it's a bad day to be seeing ghosts.
The veil is thin.
Mm-hmm.
During the night, the time was 12:45 a.m. as I subsequently saw my watch. I felt that I was awakened by somebody in my room. It was pitch dark, and at first I could see nothing. I was wide awake with an extraordinary cold feeling at my heart that rapidly increased in intensity. Almost immediately, I felt, as much as saw it, that there was a tall figure in the middle of the room. My first impression was that it was Darby himself. He was there, as no other member of the household would correspond to the height. What is it? I asked. There was no answer, but now I could see dimly at first, and then with increasing distinctness, that the tall figure was clothed from head to toe in red, and with its right hand raised menacingly into the air, held a dagger. To my utter astonishment, I could see that the light which illuminated the figure was from within, having very much the effect of a dark lantern used in a photographer's room. As the figure advanced towards me, the light increased, and I could see distinctly that the form was that of a very tall woman holding some sort of a weapon, knife or dagger, in her hand. What is it? I asked again, adding, who is it? And then hurriedly struck a match and lit my candle. As the flame of the match and candle illuminated the room, I looked all around. The room was empty. End quote.
Oh my God, that scare the poop out of me. Honestly, It's somebody coming at you with a knife or a dagger.
Yeah, it's no bueno.
No. Oh my gosh. Like my heart would be in my throat for sure.
Yeah. The last haunting we're going to talk about is called the Elemental. And it's one that gets kind of the most attention. And it seems like it's been there the longest. A lot of paranormal investigators have been to Leap Castle. And everyone is still trying to figure this one out, exactly what it is or how it came to be. But it definitely seems like it's the spirit that's been there the longest. So
probably
the origin
from
technically
the
is
days, I would suspect.
Well, that's one of the theories. So the origin is not known, but there are some theories. So we're going to kind of look at all the theories and then what people see. So the earliest belief would be that it was put there by the Druids long before the castle was built to protect that sacred site because they used it for initiations and Druidic magic. So it's thought that maybe it's some kind of Druid spirit that's trying to, scare people away from that site. Another theory is that the elemental was placed there by an invading force to kind of burn the castle from the inside out. if this theory is true, then they think it would have been put there by Gerald Fitzgerald, Earl of Kildare. He was a renowned magic practitioner and had attempted to take over the castle on several occasions, obviously unsuccessfully. But if that's the case, they think it could possibly be him. Another theory is that it's the spirit of an ancient O'Carroll who died in the castle from leprosy. And we're going to talk about this spirit's appearance, but if this was the case, it would explain the horrific smell and rotting facial features that come along with seeing the elemental.
Yikes.
Very yikes.
Gross.
The last theory, and this is something that I'd mentioned a little bit earlier when you were like, why would all the spirits come alive now when they're being freed? So some people speculated that Mildred kind of not brought the spirit into the house, but she apparently hosted seances and did automatic writing. So I don't know what kind of seance. There was no real information. It just said that she hosted seances.
Right.
And so some people think that maybe she could have let that spirit in, or that her doing that linked with the discovery of the bodies in the Oubliette caused such a big release of emotional energy that a dormant spirit that was down there the whole time, but it wasn't, it was dormant, so it wasn't active.
Yeah.
But by her doing seances in the castle and them opening that up and removing the bones, that maybe it kind of awoke a spirit that was already down there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
makes sense.
Nobody thinks that she like summoned the elemental, but
never on purpose.
No, and it didn't sound like she was doing any kind of like nitty gritty wild seances or anything,
black magic or whatever.
Which honestly, if my husband moved me into a castle and I was seeing ghosts, I might do a freaking seance too.
I would probably be there with you.
Yeah.
I would be very curious. What is happening right here? Let's find out the stories here.
Yeah. So that is kind of the theory, or sense. Theories.
Mm-hmm.
The one good thing about the elemental is that it seems that as long as you're not looking for it or provoking it, then it won't visit you. So the Ryans have lived there since 1991, and they say that they have never seen it and they have never felt its presence, but they are also not looking for it and they do not want to find it.
Okay, that's very scary.
Yeah.
Like what is the point of it? Like, if it was brought in to protect the land by the druids, say we're going to go with that theory for a second.
Yeah.
At what point would it come to protect? Because think of the murders that happened at this site. Like,
well, who knows? Maybe, I mean, this is hard speculation, but you look at somebody like Sean Ryan, who's there to preserve the castle and its history, and he respects it. And he's doing good by it, and he hasn't seen the elemental. And then you look at the O'Carrolls, who were ruthless and brutal, and how much negativity and murder and happened to them. Yeah. Maybe it was all 100 them, and they were just animals, or you know what? Maybe something was pushing them.
That's
you never know.
Interesting. I like that theory. As in, like, I don't like what happened, but it makes sense.
Mm-hmm. So the elemental's appearance does differ in accounts of who has seen it, which makes me wonder if it's the same spirit everyone is seeing, or if they're seeing different ones. Like, I don't know. You know what I mean? There's commonalities, but people do see different things. So
enough people died there that it could literally just be another
be different spirits. Yeah. All of these could be correct.
Yes, exactly.
Mildred Darby had an associate staying at the castle, and they recounted their experience with it. And it was similar to what a lot of people had kind of said. Like, it had like all of the kind of commonality things. So this is a little longer account too. So this is what the person said. Quote, "Suddenly, 2 hands were laid on my shoulders. I turned around sharply and saw, as clearly as I see you now, a gray thing standing a couple of feet from me, with its bent arms raised as if it were cursing me. I cannot describe in words how utterly awful the thing was. its very undefinableness rendering the horrible shadow more gruesome. Human in shape, a little shorter than I am, I could just make out the shape of big black holes like great eyes and sharp features.
Oh.
But the whole figurehead, face, hands, and all, was gray, unclean, bluish gray, something of the color and appearance of common cotton wool, but oh, so sinister, repulsive, devilish. The thing was about the size of a sheep, thin, gaunt, and shadowy in parts. Its face was human, or to be more accurate, inhuman, in its vileness, with the large holes of blackness for eyes, loose, slobbery lips, and a thick, saliva-dripping jaw, slopping back suddenly into its neck. Nose had it none, only spreading, cancerous cavities, the whole face being a uniform tint of gray. This, too, was the color of the dark, coarse hair covering its head, neck, and body. Its forearms were thickly coated with the same hair. So were its paw-like features, large, loose, and hand-shaped. It sat on its hind legs, one hand raised, and a claw-like finger was extended, ready to scratch the paint. Its lustrous eyes, which seemed half decomposed and looked incredibly foul, stared into mine. The horrible smell, which had before offended my nostrils only 100 times intensified, came up to my face, filling me with a deadly nausea. I noticed the lower half of the creature was indefinite and seemed semi-transparent at least. I could see the framework of the door that led into the gallery through its clear body. End quote.
Well, that was truly horrific. Thank you for that. Oh my God. Wow. I was going to say that I didn't think that elementals were human, but I guess from that description, they're definitely not.
No, it was described as like human-like features. It sounds like its face was very human-like.
Yeah, and it had hands and arms and things like that. But like
it said they were hands like paws.
Oh, yeah, weird, gross. Oh my gosh. Oh, I can't. How did this person continue living a normal life after seeing something like that?
I have no idea.
I would immediately need to check myself into a hospital somewhere.
Yeah.
Mental instability.
Yes. On the Leap, there's a Leap website, by the way. I don't know who runs it. It's where I got the most of my information. So there's a whole
Sean
page.
Ryan?
Maybe. Although when you go to his history, because there's like little drop down menus and it's like the O'Carrolls, the Darbys, and you go to the Ryans and it's like information coming soon. So
really?
Is the one. Yeah, I had to find information about him somewhere else.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but there is a whole page of personal accounts of people that have seen the elemental. Ooh. And it was long, so I don't want to copy and paste them all. I would be here all day.
Yeah.
So I just took that one because it had a lot of description, but people can go read them if you like. If you just search Leap Castle, you'll see the website. It's like...
Is it L-E-A-P?
You'll see it.
Just like Leap?
Yeah, L-E-A-P. Like Leap in the air.
Okay.
But I will warn you, good luck reading stuff on that website because it has so much information, really good information. But whoever designed the website, they used this like sepia tone castle picture as the background for all the pages. And then the text is like tiny, thin black font. And my eyes were straining.
Paste into Word. And
I did.
Adjust.
So I would copy and paste into Word. And when it would copy over all black. So then I'd have to change, like format the text.
No, you right click and paste as plain text.
Yes, I would. And it kept coming over with...
Really?
Like the text was in black, but it was like highlighted in black. So I'd have to take that off. It was very annoying.
It's the ghosts. They don't want you to copy and paste.
The webpage was haunted, just so you all know. And now my laptop is haunted. So
oh no.
If somebody could
I don't have any cures for that type of virus. I'm sorry.
A seance email to clear it up, please and thanks.
Oh, okay. Now I need to go there.
I know, right?
That is like number one on my bucket list now.
Yeah, this is going to be my new tradition, a haunted castle every October. So.
Oh, this is amazing. I'm very excited. I want to learn more about more haunted castles, but...
Well, you have to wait till next October.
More often than once a year.
No, there's only so many in the world, so I got to spread them out.
Yeah. Fair enough. Well, I just add this to my whole, I want to tour, do a ghost tour of Europe, and I'll add that one to my list. It'll be my first stop.
Yeah,
Ireland. Just
email Sean Ryan.
Yeah, absolutely. Sean Ryan, if you listening, get in touch.
I can tell you he's not.
Oh, man, that was... good story. I love a good ghost story. That was good. Thank you for sharing that. Well, I guess I'm not rolling again because even though it's the end of October when this comes out, I'm going to keep it going because
we're still in October. It's only the 19th here.
Yes, exactly. So we're still in the spooky vibes. So next week, I'm still going to be in the spooky vibes. So I'm going to tell another spooky story next week. So if you want to follow us on social media, you know how to do that. We are on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Just search The Grimdark Diaries and you will find us in all of the places. Also TikTok, but again, I mention this every time. I'm like, we have a
You
TikTok.
don't have to say it.
You can follow us. So if you want to send us an email, tell us your spooky stories. Tell me if you've been to Leap Castle or if you have any encounter stories of haunted castles of any kind. Please send those to me. You can reach me or Nikki at thegrimdarkdiaries@gmail.com. And whatever podcast platform you're listening to us on, you can give us a 5-star rating or you can give us a comment. Whatever you can do, that would be greatly appreciated. And join us next week to see what I come up with for our final spooky story. And remember, a friend in the dark beats alone in the light.